After Earth. Or should we say After Shyamalan? Maybe. What is happening, movie buffs, film lovers, and everybody else? I am David, the Film Junkie, bringing you a film review of After Earth. Now, beforehand, let me just get it out there. After Earth is at a 13% on RottenTomatoes.com. Yeah, it's getting a lot of hell. Kind of breaks my heart to see that, just because I'm a big M. Night Shyamalan fan. Not huge, I guess you could say, but you know, his first three movies, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, fantastic movies. He started slipping a little bit with The Village, and Lady in the Water was just, I didn't even know what the hell I watched. Didn't see The Last Airbender, and then The Happening was like, what happened? I was actually one of those that was like, you know what, I kind of like the story, I kind of like where he was going with it, but it was just very, very poorly portrayed. The acting was terrible. It just didn't go anywhere. So you guys might notice that they're not saying this is an M. Night Shyamalan film, which is kind of funny because usually they'll smear his name everywhere, but I kept forgetting that it was an M. Night Shyamalan film just because they didn't say his name. What's funny about that is, too, they don't even show it in the beginning, the opening credits. They just show Will Smith, Jaden Smith, and then the title, and that's pretty much it. They don't even show, I mean, it shows that it was at the end written, you helped write it, and anyways, let's get on with it. After Earth stars Will Smith and Jaden Smith, and basically they are, of course, in real life, father and son, and in the movie, they are father and son. They don't really know each other too well. Will Smith is like this soldier that has no fear. He's basically a robot. Doesn't really show emotions a lot. He's kind of like Spock-ish, if you want to really get technical with it. And he comes home, but he has one more adventure to go on, and he tells his son to come with him. They're supposed to have this bonding moment, and then shit starts going south when they crash on a planet that is not inhabited by humans anymore. Obviously, you guys know that they crash on Earth 1,000 years later. Apparently, we have fucked up Earth so much that we had to leave, which is probably what's going to eventually happen, but we'll probably just all, wow, that's deranged. Do I really have to talk like that? So when they crash, Will Smith, his legs are broken. He can't do much, so it's up to Jaden Smith's character to set out on this adventure to find the tail section of the craft, because there's a beacon in there, so then they can signal for help. And Will Smith's just gonna help him out, walk him through the whole thing. He's got all this cool holograms and crap where you can just see what's going on. Now, going into the movie, I wasn't expecting a lot, just because Shyamalan, his movies have been sucking lately, and you know, but I was kind of confident, just because I was like, well, Will Smith chooses his roles pretty carefully. He does a good job. Not a huge fan of his son, because Karate Kid sucked. A lot of things he's been in sucked. He's not the greatest actor. Let's face it, he was born with a fucking golden spoon up his ass. Now with that, I actually enjoyed it a little bit. I might be in the minority in this. It was not a terrible sci-fi flick. It was actually a decent sci-fi flick. It had all the inner workings of a Shyamalan picture, which was his emotion. He likes to really capture emotion, like within his characters. Sometimes it's, you know, he doesn't, but he did in this somewhat. The visuals are great, the score is great, the music goes well with the score. The only thing is, it is a little bit boring. Don't go in here expecting the Will Smith of blockbuster Will Smith caliber. If you guys remember the movie The Bone Collector, where Denzel was sitting in a chair the whole time and guiding Angelina Jolie, it's just a sci-fi version of that, kind of. And what kind of sucked about Will Smith's character, he was just too robotic. It was like, come on, man, just let's see a little bit of Will Smith. Okay. Jaden Smith does a decent job. There's a lot of times where he gets a little whiny, and you know, the emotions, it's kind of funny because it starts off where Will Smith is, I'm not giving away any spoilers, but it starts off, Will Smith comes home, they're at the dinner table and they're not really talking, and then, you know, Jaden Smith's character acts like that, you know, that teenager that just wants to rebel and just, I hate you, Dad, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden they go on this excursion, and then he's trying to be happy. But yeah, Will Smith is just still robotic Will Smith, and they're supposed to have a bonding moment, and we're supposed to grab that, and that's supposed to like kind of like, you know, help the story out, but it really does not at all. What I also didn't find that made sense, and it was actually before I saw the movie, when you hear that quote that he says, that Will Smith says that, you know, fear is a choice, you know, it's not real. That doesn't make any sense at all. Trust me, if we had the choice not to be afraid, we would not fucking be afraid. Who the fuck wants to be afraid? I don't want to be afraid. It's not a choice, it's an emotion. That part just really didn't make sense. But I saw where they were going with it, because obviously Will Smith has trained himself where he's not afraid of anything, and they kind of show that briefly in the beginning. So then Jaden, he tries to help Jaden Smith's character to achieve Ghost, is what they call it. You know, I was thinking about it too when I was watching it. It's like, you know, it was flowing quite nicely, but it was kind of boring, and it was, you know, it's pretty slow paced at some points. And he deals with these creatures that he has to fight off, but there's one particular creature that he's like, that can basically smell fear. Also, another line that didn't make sense too was the fact that he said like all these creatures on Earth have all been evolutionized to kill humans. How have they done that when there's been no people on Earth for 1,000 years? Help me out here, Shyamalan. Fuck! Why does Will Smith have to be saying these ridiculous lines? But he could have made it where it revolved around this character, because obviously fear, this emotion of fear is centralized, you know, centralized in this story, you know, so then Jaden Smith's character can achieve not having fear, and so they could have revolved the story more around this beast, but it actually just, you know, it doesn't. But I won't give any other spoilers away. Don't expect a Shyamalan twist at the end. I was actually expecting it, and I was pretty disappointed in the ending. Actually, I was very disappointed in the ending. It's a decent sci-fi flick, but I would say maybe wait for a rental. Maybe wait for a time where it could come out, and yeah, I just suggest that. I was really wanting a Shyamalan twisty ending, but there's really not one, not really, and I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go home and cry. DVD rental, Redbox it, Netflix maybe. Yeah, just do that. Alright guys, hit that like, thumbs up button if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Well, I'm David, the Film Junkie, and this has been a film review of After Earth. Shyamalan, please, just like make Signs 2 or some shit. That's my favorite Shyamalan movie. So good. So good. Anyways guys, talk to you later.